Week 6 slate for the National Football League. Welcome into Got It Covered. I'm Giovanni Heater alongside Raza Umarani with you and ready to rock and roll, my friend. Make some Week 6 picks.
Absolutely. Week 6, it's already flying by. It's like I was thinking about it in the car earlier today. After this week, the regular season will be a third complete.
At least it's not as short as college football season where we're
That's
almost
true.
halfway home.
That's true. We got plenty of time left for sure.
Plenty of time, no question. It starts with Thursday Night Football, 8:15 kick on Amazon Prime from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Eagles at Giants. Philadelphia is 7.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 40.5. The Eagles have been scraping by. They were finally handed their first loss of the season this past week against Denver, surrendering 18 points in the fourth quarter. Pretty much a collapse by Philadelphia. Do they bounce back against the Giants? What are your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts are that Philadelphia shouldn't be a 7.5-point favorite over anybody, particularly on the road. I definitely like the Giants in the points, but I can't take New York to win the game. I think Jackson Dart, that first game against the Chargers was cute and all, but then you saw the flip side of having a kind of, I don't want to say reckless because I feel a little harsh, but like
Novice?
it's his style of play.
Sure.
Like I think Jackson Dart has entered the league thinking he's Baker Mayfield. And like that's not you're still a rookie. You know what I'm saying? You got some things to learn. I think the speed of the game is still there for him when you had a situation like last week where the defense wasn't really doing them any favors and they were turning the ball over. You could see the jitters and you could see him get flustered. This defense can fluster you if you're a rookie quarterback. So I do think that it'll be lower scoring because I think both these defenses are going to dominate, particularly early. I do think Philadelphia gets it done in the end, but at 7.5 in a divisional game at home, I definitely like the Giants in the point. So maybe like a 20-17 Eagles win here.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I like the Eagles to roll all season
Really?
long. Yeah, all season long. We've seen the Eagles kind of skate by the skin of their teeth, right? It finally caught up with them last week with the 18 points in the fourth quarter against Denver. I think this is almost like a get right game for Philadelphia. I think this is the game you see it all click for them. They're going to get New York twice in the next 3 games, right? And they play Minnesota in between the two. So I think all of a sudden, after these 3 games, we're going to be looking at Philadelphia more with Super Bowl eyes than we were the last couple of weeks because of how they've played. And I think this game is what primarily sparks it. I just see Philadelphia going out there and rolling and some of our questions being answered. Okay, why can't they run the ball? They're going to run the ball. I could see Saquon having 150 yards on the ground tonight and lighten it up. And I know we haven't seen it this year, but it's just kind of a gut feeling. I think this is the week, and this is the team in which, against, it all clicks for Philly, and they look like their Super Bowl selves again. Get A.J. Brown the ball, get him more involved in the offense. I think something's going to click. Gut feeling type of a move. Give me Philly to cover the 7.5 and win on the road. And we're looking at Philadelphia back to what we thought they should be.
Yeah, it obviously can happen, but until I see it
Sure.
happen, it's not something I'm not gonna predict. Although I feel better about a chance of that happening because Saquon is like a full go early in the week when he showed up on the report with a knee issue. I'm like, oh boy, you do not want to have a knee issue going to MetLife Stadium. But I
True.
think Saquon against his former team could have a big game. So we'll see. I think it's definitely possible, but I'm putting a little more faith in New York's defense here.
Well, Raza's still going to be asleep for this one on Sunday morning because he'll be up so late watching Arizona State and Utah on Saturday night. That kicks off at 10 o'clock. But it's 9:30 a.m. because it's out in London. Broncos at Jets from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Denver 6.5-point favorites against the Jets. I'm honestly surprised that it's not over a touchdown. 43.5 is the over-under. What do you like in this one? I'm just going to throw it out there already. I like the Broncos. I think they're starting to find their groove a little bit. The Jets are really, really not good. I like the Broncos to cover here, the 6.5.
International games are always tricky in terms of picking against the spread, but if there was ever a big favorite to win overseas, it would probably be a situation like this where Denver is catching the Jets at a terrible time. Why we're sending the Browns and Jets and Steelers and now the Dolphins later overseas, we need to be
You should be
doing a
sending
better
your
job.
big brands
I feel like, yeah, you should, but I also think that the NFL doesn't want to send like a Chiefs Lions caliber game to
overseas.
London.
Right.
Which I understand both sides of the argument here. For some reason, I like the Jets to keep this thing close. Like, I don't know if it's the number that's getting to me. I don't know if it's just the whole international thing in general. But I think if I was in a pick'em league against the spread, I would probably take the Jets plus 6.5 here. But yeah, I'm not picking against the Broncos here. That defense is hooping. Nick Bonito is insane. Jonathan Cooper as well. Patrick Surtain, obviously. And their offense is starting to get in a groove here. If they can keep up the momentum they had in the fourth quarter of the Philly game, they should roll here, especially on the ground with J.K. Dobbins. We just saw what Javonte Williams did to this Jets defense and Devon Achane the week before. I'm most interested to see, is this the game where Bo Nix kind of looks legit? Sure. It would have to be this game.
1 o'clock window starts in Indianapolis. Cardinals at Colts. Indy is 7.5-point favorites. Over under at 46.5. Daniel Jones has been hooping. Cardinals should be 3-2. Instead, they're 2-3 because they let one slip against the Titans a week ago. Who do you like? I'm thinking Arizona to cover here, Indianapolis to win the game. Indy's been hooping. I do like some of the things that we've seen out of Arizona. Should be 3-2, like I mentioned. Really blew it last week. I think Marv is starting to catch his stride a little bit. Some of the catches that he's made this year have raised some eyebrows and kind of put to bed some of the disappointment that I think a lot of people had in Marvin Harrison's performance up to this point throughout last year and then the first couple of weeks of this year. But with that being said, I do think the Colts are one of the better teams in the National Football League at this point. So give me Indy to win the game. Give me the Cardinals to cover in Indianapolis.
I think the big thing here is that you're probably looking at no Kyler Murray for the Cardinals. Hasn't practiced this week. Really strange situation with he got bonked in the head by the snap in the game and had to come out, then came back in. Now he's dealing with some sort of lower body injury. So if it's Jacoby Brissett, I think that's good news for Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't think that's great news for the Cardinals at large. We're already overmatched in this game. I know you said they should be 3-2. They could arguably be 5-0. They've lost 3 straight games on walk-off field goals, but you know how I feel about Indianapolis. I think they're elite. So I will take them to win and cover pretty handily.
All right. We roll on in the 1 o'clock window. Chargers at Dolphins. Chargers 3.5-point favorites on the road. Chargers 3-2. Dolphins 1-4. Obviously, the way that the Dolphins essentially choked things last week is certainly another infuriating feather in the cap of this Mike McDaniel saga in 2025, right? And Los Angeles had this hot start, and we haven't been high on them the last couple of weeks here. What is your take on this game? I think I'm feeling the Chargers, but I'm not as confident as I would have been probably 2 weeks ago. So I'll take the Chargers to win and cover the 3.5. But again, there's a little bit of apprehension there. Your thoughts?
I don't think that Miami has the defensive front that the Giants and Commanders have that disrupted and took advantage of LA's shortcomings on the offensive line. So I do think that the Chargers offense, even without Omarion Hampton, will be a little bit more comfortable in this game. If anything, I like kind of points on both sides here, but I don't think Miami has the gumption in a game like this. I think the Chargers really need one to get back on track. I think that they're catching Miami at a pretty good time. So I think, I think the Chargers win this game in a bounce back game for Justin Herbert for sure.
Yeah, especially lacking firepower with no Tyreek Hill too, for Miami, of course. 1 o'clock window, Patriots at Saints down in New Orleans. 3.5-point favorites are the New England Patriots. 45.5 is the over-under number. I like the Patriots, man. I think the culture Mike Vrabel's building, I have no worries about any kind of a hangover from the awesome Sunday Night Football win against Buffalo. I think if it was a different coaching staff, maybe you worry about that. I don't think that's a problem with Mike Vrabel running the ship here in New England. Drake May, literally playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league so far this season. I'm not saying he is a top 5 quarterback in the league. There's a difference between being one and playing like one, but he is playing some really high level football right now. I like the Patriots to roll. I do like some of the things that Spencer Rattler is doing for the Saints. I think he's a couple of throws away from them having a win or two more on their resume. They're 1-4 on the season. But again, I think this is still one of the worst teams across the board in the National Football League. So I'm going to take New England to go on the road and get another win, another nice win here for the Pats.
Yeah, I think I like the Saints in the points here, but it's hard to pick them ever. Like you said, like they are towards the bottom of the NFL. Even if Rattler's playing well and like that defense was making plays in their last game, they're carrying some positive momentum. Both of these teams are. I do like the Saints in the points, but I'm not going to pick them to win this game. I think New England's still the better team. They find a way to get it done in the end. And I know it doesn't, you can put your faith in this coaching staff for New England to not have this quote unquote hangover. It's a classic spot for it to happen on the road at an admittedly tough place to play, even though they do suck. Those fans are very passionate. So I would not take New England to cover. I would probably stay away from betting this game entirely, but I do think they find a way to win.
You know, you do bring up a fair point because it is a young team. I do have faith in the coaching staff, but it is a young team. So could be a hangover spot, but I like Mike Vrabel to make sure that doesn't happen. Browns at Steelers, divisional game at Acrisure Stadium. Pittsburgh is 5.5-point favorites. Over under set at 38.5, of course. Why would it touch 40? It's never going to touch 40 if the Cleveland Browns are in the football game. Give me the Browns to cover, Pittsburgh to win the game. Browns defense just continues to muck things up. I also think they got into a little bit of a rhythm with Dylan Gabriel. Lost the game, but they scored more points than they had all season with Dylan Gabriel as the signal caller. So give me the Browns to cover this thing. I'll take the Steelers to win at home, but I'll take the Browns to cover that 5.5-point spread.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel played all right, but I just feel like their whole offensive identity, especially with him at the helm being such a conservative, small, limited guy, respectfully, is that Stefanski's not coaching to win. He's coaching to not lose on offense and praying that the defense does something to help them out.
Sure.
Like they did in the Packers game, for example.
Right.
And I don't like that formula. But more than anything, Mike Tomlin dominates rookie quarterbacks. The Browns are coming home from London, whereas the Steelers are coming off a bye after coming off the Ireland trip. So Tomlin off a bye and Tomlin against rookie quarterbacks, pretty good track record there. And Dylan Gabriel's not the quarterback to make up some, Jaden Daniels almost beat the Steelers last year because Jaden Daniels is pretty freaking good. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's not the caliber of player to do this. So I will take Pittsburgh to win this game, probably to cover. But you said it. I like the total to go under because they're not going to score points. The Browns are.
Right. Cowboys at Panthers. Dallas only 3.5-point favorites down in Charlotte. What do you like in this one? I think I like the Cowboys to not only win, but cover as well. Dak, man. You know I'm a big Dak fan. I'm putting a lot of stock in Dak Prescott. Let's see. The over-under number in this is 49.5. I mean, it makes sense, though, because the Cowboys are scoring so many darn points. I just think they're going to be able to outscore, and it really comes down to that. I don't see Carolina keeping it within 3.5. Cowboys can put up 30 or more points every game.
Yeah, I think this game looks exactly like the Jets game for Dallas, except maybe Carolina makes it a little more competitive in the end because Bryce Young has mastered the art of sucking for a quarter and change and then playing well enough to bring his team back into the game. We saw it against Arizona. We saw it last week against Miami.
Yeah.
So I like points in this game on both sides, but I think Dallas gets off to a hot start. Then Carolina kind of finds their way back into the game. I like the Cowboys to win. I like the Cowboys to cover. I probably like the total to go over. I'll take the over in any game involving these two teams.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. I think there will be points put on the board. And dude, again, I think Javonte Williams is probably in for a big game again here.
Yeah.
So could be the last game for Dallas without CD Lamb. And
if they get a win, Cowboys are 2-2-1. They get a win.
Guess who they play next week?
Washington.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting, right? If Dallas goes into that game 3-2-1 and Washington goes in at, let's say, 4-2, all of a sudden because imagine, who knows what can happen to the Eagles tonight? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's gonna get a little dicey there in the NFC East.
Flex it to Sunday Night Football.
That would be awesome.
That'd be sick.
That would
it's
be
too early for flexings.
No, flexing can actually start now.
Okay.
But
it feels like it's too early. This season is flying by.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about it, but 49ers, Buccaneers was flexed to 4:30.
True. Very true. How about this for a banger 1:00 game? Seahawks at Jaguars. Who would have thought coming into the year that this would be a banger 1:00 game? Exactly, but it is. Seattle 1.5-point favorites on the road, coming just about as far away from Seattle as you can get in the continental United States, unless you're playing against the Dolphins or the Buccaneers. Nevertheless, they're still 1.5-point favorites. Huge points game here. 47.5 is the over-under number. Seattle's offense is humming, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba's playing fantastic football. Sam Darnold, again, doing a lot of what he did last year in Minnesota, if not better. I talked about it. I love how their offense is so take what the defense gives you, let Darnold spray it around, short intermediate game, and then boom, we're going to take a shot. And it happens when you least expect it on play action, and they make you pay. And I like that element of the Seattle offense, but I also really like what Jacksonville's doing. And I think Liam Cohen really has emerged as a nice young coach in this league so far this year. And probably if they continue the success is going to have a shot at coach of the year type conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're going to win enough for it though, is the thing, but
I mean, they're 4-1.
Very true. It's early.
At that rate.
It's early. They still got to play the Colts for the division too.
Yeah, twice.
Yes. But nevertheless, no, this is a fascinating, awesome football game. I'm going to take the Jags at home. I do really like what we're seeing out of Jacksonville. If you asked what team played better last week,
it's close.
They both made mistakes. But the mistakes were the demise of the Seahawks. 2 turnovers to Tampa Bay's none. And one of them was inside the final minute when you had a chance to go win the game, right? And instead, even though there were a couple of mistakes made by the Jags, they pounced on opportunities with the pick 6 and things like that against the Chiefs. Very comparable as far as caliber of opponent they played and what happened in the game. One team came out on top and found a way. One team didn't. Give me Jacksonville to keep finding ways. I'm going to take Jacksonville, even though the Seahawks are favored. Home dog. Give it to me.
That's true. God, I'm going to avoid betting this like the plague. Otherwise, my FanDuel account will suffer more than it already has. I like Seattle to win this game because I trust Darnold more than I trust Lawrence. You talk about making mistakes. Granted, Jacksonville made up for the mistakes they made last week, but like, who knows what that looks like again? Because then Kansas City made mistakes of their own. I think that this is a bounce back spot for Seattle's defense. Honestly, I like both these defenses quite a lot. I think this is a bounce back spot for Seattle's defense. I think Darnold, there's a chance, right, against the team that leads the NFL in takeaways that you get the seeing ghosts Sam Darnold that you got at the end of last season, for example. But I'm going to put my faith in Seattle to get this one done. I think their defense makes a couple plays of their own. This could be a who has the ball last type of game. I just trust Seattle at the quarterback, mostly on offense in general, more than I trust Jacksonville. So I will take Seattle to get this long road trip victory. I think it's going to be a great game.
These next 3 games, we can pretty much rapid fire here, Raza. Rams at Ravens. We talked about the Ravens essentially staring 1-5 in the face. Rams are 7.5-point favorites. Numbers 44.5. trending towards, in my opinion, no Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
We'll
He hasn't
see.
practiced this week.
He hasn't practiced. I don't think you're going to see Lamar Jackson. I think the Ravens go to 1-5, unfortunately, and I think we're pretty much at the point where it's over. In Baltimore, the Rams are a good team. It does not fall in their favor where they're playing somebody like a Titans or a Raiders or something like that in Baltimore, where you feel like a backup quarterback still gives you a shot. Defense is decimated. They're not running the ball well, and they're without Lamar Jackson. I just don't see a world in which the Rams lose this game.
Me neither. Baltimore, with the way their defense is playing, no Lamar Jackson. We've talked about it ad nauseum. And then you got the Rams, who are supremely talented, could be 5-0, coming off a mini bye. This is a game the Rams win, the Rams cover. They could hit the total by themselves.
Yes, so we're both taking the Rams. This one's quick. Titans at Raiders in Vegas. Not sure who cares. 3.5, though, is the spread. Vegas is favored. 40.5 is the over-under. Give me the Titans to rattle off 2 in a row. Geno Smith is, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, Geno Smith is not playing good quarterback football right now. In fact, he's probably one of the worst in the league in how he's performed this year to this point. I think Cam Ward's actually playing better quarterback right now. So give me Cam Ward to win the game.
Yeah, it's this game, you talk about flexing. It should flex this one to Nickelodeon.
Yeah, and it's at 4:00.
Yeah. I mean,
I have to watch it.
That's a
they're forcing us to watch it.
I think that neither of these teams can be trusted. I know that the Titans have the momentum coming off of last week's win, but who knows what that means with a team that's as poorly coached as they are. Cam Ward's in a groove. That's for damn sure. Cam Ward is definitely making some highlight level throws, whereas Geno Smith is doing a whole lot of nothing. But I don't know. I'll take the Raiders to win this game at home. I think
all right.
Genty could have a big game on the ground, and I think they could make the difference.
Cover 3.5.
I don't know. I'll say yes.
Okay. All right. He's going to say yes.
I think last week's comeback is overshadowing the fact that Tennessee's still really, really bad. So I will take. These could be the 2 worst teams in the league. So who knows what happens?
Let's make this one really quick. Bengals at Packers in Green Bay.
Oh,
wow. Packers are 14.5 point favorites. The number's 44.5. Good heavens. Joe Flacco's starting, though, baby.
Yep.
Joe Flacco's starting. Give me the Bengals to cover and Green Bay to win the game.
Give me Green Bay to cover the 14.5. I don't care. I hate big numbers. I think I came on here and said I like the Saints to cover against the Bills a couple weeks ago, and they did. This is Jake Browning had the worst EPA per dropback among qualified players in the NFL. So how do you upgrade over Jake Browning when you bring in Joe Flacco, who has the 2nd worst EPA per dropback among quarterbacks that are qualified in the NFL? It's like minus 0.4 or something. That's a perplexing trade for me for the Bengals. They are going to be just as bad as they had been previously. This just means that Jamar Chase will get force fed. So good for him. Packers roll off the bye. This is going to be ugly. Every game with the Bengals is going to be ugly against a competent team.
I like the Bengals to cover. I'm going to take the Bengals to cover.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's a big spread. It's a big spread. But
Joe Flacco did just beat the Packers, so who knows?
I think Joe Flacco's still got a little bit in the tank. And the Packers, they're going to win comfortably. But 14.5 is a large number in the National Football League. Niners at Buccaneers. What a game. Tampa Bay is 2.5 point favorites. 47.5 is the number. Whew. Man, the Niners just keep getting it done. Banged up doesn't matter. They just keep getting it done.
Both of these teams, very similar starts to the year.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers aren't banged up. It's almost more impressive that the Niners are doing it.
They're not banged up in the star power department like the Niners are, but their offensive. I mean, they've had no Bucky Irving last week. Their offensive line's a mess. Like in that regard, wide receiver injuries.
Valid. I guess it hasn't been being used as an excuse. Like we're giving the Niners excuses to lose, and then they're just not losing.
Yeah, Shanahan is like drawing blood from a stone. Kendrick Bourne turned into Puka Nacua last week. Like Mac Jones has been fantastic. Like in that regard,
awesome.
in that regard, yes. And what the Niners are doing is probably more impressive.
It's so hard because the Bucs have barely been winning, and it's like, how long can you keep that up for? I think until they surrender that, it's a home game for them. I'm gonna take Tampa Bay to win. And at that point, I'll take them to cover because it's 2.5, and you know how I feel when it's under a field goal. So I'll just take them to cover. I'll take them to cover and win at home. I know it's tough because they're barely doing it, and how long does that last for? But it hasn't gone away yet. And I think it comes down to more their ability to take away the football. You saw it twice last week against Seattle, and that ended up being the difference in the game, right? So it's actually the defense. It's not Baker late in the game, I think. I think I like the Tampa Bay defense to step up and make a play or two.
Yeah, I think San Francisco's young defense is starting to come into their own a little bit. You saw Alfred Collins wreck the game on Thursday night, their second round pick out of
Yeah.
Texas. But yeah, long road trip for San Francisco. I think I can trust Baker a little bit more than I can trust Macaroni. There's a chance this is a shootout. This could look a lot like
Like
both
last
of these
week.
teams. Yeah, exactly. Both games for each of these teams last week.
Yep.
But I also like Tampa Bay to just again find a way to pull it out at the end. I'll take them to win. I'll take them to cover. Could be another huge game for Emeka Ibuka here.
How about a banger Sunday night football game here? Good heavens. Lions at Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites. Really feels like a must-win spot for Kansas City. I'm not worried about them at 2-3. I'm really not. I still think they're one of the better teams in the NFL. They're still a Super Bowl contender like they're always going to be, right? But they are 2-3. And things probably start to get a little dicey if you lose a home game and go 2-4.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, not panic, but like, okay, like they have to still win games, right? So, and especially with how difficult their division is, because it's not like they can just walk through their division. I don't even think it's a guarantee for them to win the division in any way right now.
No.
So it feels like a must-win spot for Kansas City. The Lions are 4-1. They're going to be okay. I actually want to take the Lions to win the game, but I'm not going to because I think backs against the wall, must-win spot, Arrowhead Stadium. I think the Chiefs get it done. But I really do want to take the Lions, and I will be hate watching the snot out of this game on Sunday night. Like, I'm staying up late. I'm going to the gym later in the day on Monday and not at 5 o'clock in the morning because I need to watch Dan Campbell coaching it up at Arrowhead Stadium. Like, if there were a team in the NFL I was going to root for just as much as the Bills, it would be the Lions because of Dan Campbell, and I feel like the Bills share the same sentiment that we were in such a bad place for so long together, right? And they're playing the team that I just can't even fathom. So, yeah, I really want to take the Lions, but I'm not. I've watched too much football for that. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win at home, and they need it. They really, really, really need it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you where like my mind's telling me one thing, but the gut's telling me the other. The Lions are the better team. You know, I think the Lions are the best team in the league right now.
Playing like
but Kansas City really needs this one at home. It's a game that they pull out. We've seen it so many times over the course of the years. I think it's going to be a big time shootout, honestly. I'm expecting to see a lot of points. In that vein, I think if the Lions are to win, their defense will need to step up and make plays like we saw Jacksonville's defense make on Monday Night Football. Like Aiden Hutchinson, Al-Qadim Muhammad are going to have to wreak havoc off the edges, in my opinion, against, like Josh Simmons is really coming to his own at left tackle for the Chiefs. If the Lions defense can step up and make a couple plays, that will be the difference for them to win. But I think Kansas City plays a clean game and finds a way to win. If they don't, this might be the last time they get the benefit of the doubt, because we said that against the Eagles as well. And we know how that ended. So even though maybe the Kansas City should have won that game, they didn't. So we'll see. But I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs in this spot.
in their defense, we said the same thing against the Ravens, and it did play out.
Yes, but the Ravens are stinky.
Valid. That they are. Moldy cheese style stinky.
Yes.
Monday Night Football. Buddy, we happened last year too. We got a Monday night doubleheader where both of our teams are featured.
Yeah, why does ESPN keep doing this? God dang it.
I don't know, but we don't live in the same house this time. Probably
That's true.
Probably for good measure, though.
Yeah, that's for the best.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Can I give a short anecdote? You guys,
Please.
so this was the doubleheader last year where the second game was Commanders Bengals, which was the Jaden Daniels coming out party. And when Jaden threw that crazy touchdown to ice the game to Terry McLaurin, nobody else was in the living room with me because you and our friends went on some sort of walk or something. So nobody was even there to go watch me go crazy when Jaden completed that pack. You guys are fake for that.
That's because you are intolerable to be with when you're watching the Commanders.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that was the moment of the early part of the season for Washington. You weren't. I was there for the whole Bills game. We had it on. We watched the whole thing. They blew out the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm just saying, like,
I'm a bad friend. What do you want? I'm such a bad friend. I just went to visit you the other day and forgot to bring your birthday present. That's month late. Not a good friend. The gift is cool though.
It is a very cool gift.
Still don't have it, but we'll go Bills first, and then I'll let you say anything that you want to say about your Washington Commanders before we get out of here. Bills at Falcons in Atlanta. It's a 7:15 game on Monday night. Buffalo 4.5-point favorites. Wow, they're looking at points, man. 49.5. They're looking at points in both of these games because the other game's over 50. 49.5 is the over-under for Bills, Falcons. Superb uniform matchup. The Bills are wearing the standing Buffalo throwbacks. And then on the other side, the Falcons are wearing their home black throwbacks.
Red helmets.
With the red helmets. So the uniform matchup is exquisite in this one. I think this is a bounce back game for Buffalo. I really do. I think there's going to be a whole different kind of edge in practice this week and around that building because they lost a divisional game at home. And Josh, even in the post game, was like, we had no business being in it from the get-go. We turned the ball over 3 times, and he just said it was bad on offense. We need to play better than that. I need to play better than that, period. I think there's going to be an edge. I think there's going to be an edge out of this team. I don't know what other way to spin it. I think McDermott does run a tight ship. I think there's a great culture in Buffalo. They don't take nicely to losing. Josh doesn't take nicely to losing. I could see Josh reasserting himself and, Tuesday morning on Get Up, they're talking all about Josh Allen's, back in the MVP conversation. Look what last year's MVP did. Look at this throw. Look at him go for 400 yards and accounting for 4 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 3 through the air, or something like that. Like, I think that has this written all over it. And it's nothing against the Falcons. I don't think it mattered who they were matched up against. I just think it's a get right spot for Buffalo coming off of a loss. And they just restamp themselves as not just a Super Bowl contender, as the favorite of the AFC.
Yeah, Atlanta has been a little Jekyll and Hyde, particularly on defense, honestly, on both sides of the ball. Like the last time we saw them, their offense went gangbusters against Washington, but their defense really struggled to contain a Marcus Mariota-led offense with no Terry McLaurin. And then
their offense can disappear against the Carolina Panthers. Exactly.
So each of the last 2 times we've seen them, it's been really strange. So I don't know what to expect out of Atlanta, but I know that the Bills, like you said, are in a spot where they're bound to bounce back off of what happened on Sunday night. I think they go down to Atlanta with a purpose. I think they win. I don't know that they cover because I think Atlanta's defense and their offense, for that matter, on their best day can keep this thing close. Interested to see what we get out of Michael Penix Jr. Bills back-to-back games going up against a 2024 first-round quarterback. So curious to see what it looks like. And also, they've been stout against the run, but Bijan is a different beast. And we saw what Henry did. We saw what Henry did to them. So if Bijan gets going here, it could get dicey for Buffalo. But I'm gonna put my confidence in them to get this done because I think that it's a great spot for them to bounce back.
I like them to cover, but I hear what you're saying. And Atlanta does have a solid defense, and I just don't have the confidence in Michael Penix in that offense, to be honest with you.
Me neither, but the last time we saw them left a good taste in your mouth.
Sure. I think it's a lot more about Buffalo. Like I mentioned, doesn't matter who they're playing. I just like them to get right in this spot. Bears at Commanders. You're going to be there, my friend. 8:15 on ABC. You're going to have Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call. I'll have Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, and who? Louis Riddick?
Louis Riddick.
Yeah, that's a crew, man.
That's a great
crew.
booth.
Dude, honestly, though, love Chris Fowler. Just let him have the day off after Saturday. And call me insane. How crazy would it be if they put, even though he's a host, put Greeny on the mic with Louis Riddick and Dan Orlovsky? It'd be insane.
Or if it was like Big Game Bob. I know he's doing hockey now, but
he used to do Monday Night Football once upon a time. Or no, he didn't.
That was Joe Test.
Joe Test did it, and I was thinking of Dan Levy.
Yeah, Steve Levy.
Yeah, Dan Levy's an actor.
That's true.
But
in any case,
yeah, no, Big Game Bob on Monday night would go bonkers. Big Game Bob's going to be a little occupied with some hockey though that night.
Some puck.
Yeah. What you got, brother? Or actually, let me get my pick out of the way. Washington minus 4.5, 50.5 is the number. I'll take Washington to win. I'll take the Bears to cover. Another thriller like last year. Just because
I don't know if anything's quite like last year.
Another thriller. Just because, and the reason I say Bears to cover is because I think you're seeing the blossoming of a fun rivalry, and for that, the Bears in that spirit keep it close. Washington wins. What you got? Bye weeks for the Vikings and the Texans, by the way.
Bears are coming off a bye, like they were last year. And then last year, and we're getting a totally different offense, a totally different Caleb Williams. For what it's worth, I know I've been saying that he's still not great, but he's substantially better than he was at this point last year. Washington really dominated that game for the most part. They just couldn't finish off drives. They let Chicago hang around, and Chicago took the late lead, and we all know what happened at the end. I think this game is going to look like if last year Washington just had that extra ability to finish drives. And the reason I say that is because I do not think Chicago's defense is going to be able to keep up. I think their offense is going to be able to move the ball here and there. Oh, thumbs up. Thank you very much, MacBook. Their offense is going to be able to move the ball on Washington's defense, especially in the secondary. But Washington leads the league in rushing yards per game. Chicago is 31st in rushing yards allowed. And we saw, what Bill Krosky-Merritt did last week. We know that Jaden Daniels can move. We know that Deebo Samuel gets involved. I don't know that Chicago can keep up with our pieces offensively, especially with the way the offensive line is playing. If the defense is just able to get after... Oh, and by the way, the last time we saw Chicago, Ashton Genty destroyed them. So these are the trends we got to keep in mind here. I think Washington wins. I think Washington covers. I actually think the Commanders win this game by double digits. I think the place is going to be rocking. They're calling for a blackout at Northwest Stadium on Monday night, which I've never seen before. I personally will not be wearing black because I don't own any black Commanders gear. I'm going to be pulling up in my Sean Taylor jersey. I told myself I got to wear the same thing I wore to the Hail Mary last year because I was there. So I got superstition tells me I have to run it back. But I think you're going to see, Gio, we saw last week that Jaden Daniels is back, not just on the field, but he looked like himself from last year, which we didn't really see in the first two games before he got hurt. I think they continue that trajectory. I think Jaden has a big game against a bad defense. I think the running game pops off against a bad defense, even, again, probably without Terry McLaurin here and maybe without Sam Cosmi on the offensive line. I just think Washington comes out with a point to prove. And I know Chicago is going to be looking for revenge. They're going to be looking for redemption. Tyreek Stevenson's going on podcast talking about how much he regrets what happened last year or whatever. I think no Hail Marys needed on this one. I think Washington wins by double digits here, probably like a 31-17 final score on Monday night. I can't wait. The place is going to be rocking. I'm going to be a menace on Monday night, and it's going to be a blast. So can't wait to get there. Can't wait to watch it. I'm sorry I'll be missing the Bills game, but I'll have the notifications for ESPN on my phone. I promise.
It's all right. You're not going to miss much. The Bills are going to take care of business.
Maybe they will.
I hope so. Well, enjoy it, man. I can't wait to see the pictures and the videos and everything like that. Where can the people find us? Good slate this week.
Yeah, pretty good slate. They can find us at Got It Covered FB on all social media platforms of your choosing. He's at GeoHeater on every platform. I'm at Raza Omarani on every platform. So we make that pretty easy for you guys. Plenty of good stuff is coming your way across these platforms. So make sure to follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a like, leave a comment, share with your friends. Let us know what you think. I can't wait to break this down when we get back at it. I'm going to be a zombie because I'm going down to the game on Monday, then traveling home the next day.
True. So, we're not going to be able to do our college football reactions on Monday. We're going to have to put our brains together and figure out next week.
We will. So, but it'll be fun. I can't wait to get rocking. So it'll be a good time, and we will have you covered throughout the whole thing, eh?
We'll have you covered throughout the whole thing. Go Bills. Go Commies. Let's go get a couple wins on Monday night, my friend.
Let's do it.
All right.